Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the English main course session for Standard 3. Today we will begin with the Unit 2, Wonderful Nature. And in Unit 2, the first chapter that we have is The Proud Little Apple Blossom. So let us begin the chapter, which is about, it's a beautiful story about two flowers which bloomed in the garden. So let us begin. It was the month of May. That means it was the 5th month of the year. As we all know, May is the 5th month of the year. Okay. So May, it was the month of May. The wind was still cool. It was not very hot during this period of time, and the wind was still cool. The sun was warm, not very hot, but warm. The sky was clear, means there were no clouds, and the fields were green. Pink and white blossoms, blossoms here means flowers. Pink and white blossoms, that means pink and white flowers, brightened up the land. Means everywhere there were pink and white flowers blooming all around. All the trees, fields, flowers and birds said spring is here, spring is here. That means all the trees, fields, flowers and birds were all rejoicing. They were all celebrating the presence of spring. Spring is the season in which flowers bloom, and there is a lot of beautiful, a lot of flora blooms during this period of time. Means the fields are green, the flowers bloom which have bright colors. Okay, so all the flowers, fields, trees and birds, they were all rejoicing and celebrating the presence of spring. Now what happens, one day a young princess came to a beautiful orchard. Now orchard is a place where fruit trees are planted. Now you can consider orchard as a big garden or a big field in which fruit trees are planted. So one day a young princess came to a beautiful orchard and she stopped there to admire the flowers. There were all flowers there. As we all know that first of all flowers bloom, and then from the flowers fruit arise. Okay, so there were all the flowers since it is the time of spring. All the flowers are blooming brightly, and so she stopped there to admire, to appreciate, to praise the beauty of flowers. Okay, then she picked a branch of apple blossoms. Means she took a branch of flowers. Which flowers? Apple flowers, apple blossoms. Okay, and she took it to her land. She took it to her palace. She took it to her land. Okay, now everyone praised the apple blossom for her beauty and fragrance. When the princess took the branch of apple blossom to her palace, to her land, there everyone who looked at the apple blossom praised, admired, appreciated the apple blossom. Why people appreciated or praised the apple blossom? People appreciated and praised the apple blossom, apple flower, for her beauty and fragrance. Fragrance means sweet smell. So when everyone looked at the apple blossom appeared very beautiful, and the smell was very sweet. Its fragrance was very sweet. So everyone praised the apple blossom. The blossom became proud of her beauty. Now when apple blossom realized that everyone is appreciating and admiring her beauty, she became very proud of herself. Now for her, just being beautiful was more than enough. Now Apple Blossom realized that being beautiful is the most important thing in the world. But as we all know, it is not the most important thing in the world, right? Being beautiful is good, but being beautiful is not the only important thing in the world. But Apple Blossom became very proud of her beauty when everyone when everyone praised and appreciated her for her beauty and fragrance. So the apple blossom started thinking that other plants were not as beautiful as herself. Now she became very proud of herself, and she started thinking bad about others. Now she started thinking low about others, that she is the only beautiful one in the world, and others are below her level. Okay, so apple blossom looked proudly all around. Now she became very proud, and when she used to go anywhere, she used to be very proud. She used to look down upon everyone, and she used to consider herself very beautiful and very attractive. Now one day what happened, she spotted a little yellow flower and asked its name. Now as she was going somewhere, as the apple blossom was enjoying the appraisal of the people, she happened to see a little yellow flower, and so being curious, she asked the yellow flower its name. The little yellow flower said, "I am called the dandelion." What is the name of the little yellow flower? Dandelion. So when the apple blossom asked the little yellow flower for its name, the little yellow flower replied that my name is dandelion. Now apple blossom said, "Poor little animal, although it is not your fault, how sad you must feel to have such an ugly name." Now, since the apple blossom was very proud of her beauty and everything, she looked down upon the little yellow flower named dandelion, and she said to the flower that it is not your fault that you are not so beautiful, but you must be feeling really sad to have such an ugly name. Right. So before the dandelion could say anything, before the dandelion could say something, or before the dandelion could reply anything to the apple blossom, a lovely sunbeam came there. What came? A lovely sunbeam. Rays of the sun fell upon the apple blossom and the dandelion, and the sunbeam said, "All flowers are beautiful. They are all alike." Okay, the sunbeam came there, and the sunbeam said that all flowers are beautiful, they are all alike, they are all same, and they have the same level of beauty. Right? Nobody is very beautiful and nobody is very ugly. All flowers are beautiful and they are all alike. They are all same. Alike means same. Now then what happens next? Sunbeam kissed the apple blossom. Okay, sunbeam kissed the apple blossom to show love towards apple blossom. However, he also kissed the little yellow dandelion. The sunbeam also kissed the little yellow dandelion to show love towards the little yellow dandelion. So this is what happened till now. Till now in the story we read that the sunbeam came and she kissed the apple blossom as well as the little yellow dandelion. Let us see what happens next in the story. Just then some children came there. They looked at the dandelions with a smile. Means the beauty of the dandelion attracted the children's attention, and when the children looked at the dandelions, they smiled because they appreciated the beauty of the dandelions. Some of the children also made garlands and beautiful strings from the dandelions. Some of the children plucked the dandelions and they utilized these dandelions to make garlands and strings. Garlands, you all know, garland means mala. You all must have seen that, garlands. Okay, flowery garlands. So the children utilized the dandelions to make some garlands and some beautiful strings to play with. Okay. Just then the sunbeam asked the apple blossom that, "Did you see? The children love the beauty of the dandelion. the sunbeam asked the apple blossom that, did you see? The children are in love with the beauty of dandelions. Children are making garlands and beautiful strings from the dandelions. Now the proud apple blossom was not able to accept this reality that the dandelion appeared more attractive to the children. Then she replied to the sunbeam saying that they are beautiful only to the children. That dandelion could appear beautiful only to children because children are small, they have little thoughts. So the proud apple blossom said that the little yellow dandelions are appearing beautiful only to children. Only children can get attracted by the apple blossom. Soon an old woman came there. Now old woman came there and she started collecting the roots of the dandelions to make tea. She came there and she started collecting the roots of the dandelion to make tea, as dandelions are known to have some medicinal properties to cure the sick people. So she collected a lot of roots of the dandelions to make tea. Some she sold in the market, and the money that she earned after selling the roots of the dandelions, she bought milk from that money for her children. So the dandelion proved very useful to the dandelions proved very useful for the old woman, as first of all she collected the roots of the dandelions to make tea, which could help the sick people to get cured. And what was the rest part she sold in the market and earned some money. And the money she earned by selling the roots of the dandelions, she utilized that money and bought milk for her children. Now the proud little blossom said that, but beauty is much more important than all this. The proud little apple blossom said that beauty is the most important thing. Even if the dandelion is having the medicinal property to cure the sick people, or its root could be sold for money, for coins or for money, the roots of the dandelion could be sold. It is all useless. What is more important is beauty. According to the proud little apple blossom, the beauty is the most important thing. Then even the medicinal properties of the dandelion. So the proud little apple blossom is still very proud of her beauty, and she denies all the good qualities of the dandelion, saying that only beauty is the most important thing. By the end of the day, the princess came along. When it was the time, the end of the day, like the end of the day was approaching, and evening was approaching, the princess came along. She was carrying the dandelion. When the princess came into the garden, she was carrying the dandelion. Who was carrying the dandelion? The princess was carrying the dandelion. She was covering it carefully with her hands to protect it from the wind. The princess was carrying the dandelion in her hands, and she was covering the dandelion with her hand to protect it from the wind. See, she said, this is a beautiful flower. I will paint it in a picture with the apple blossom. Now the other people around princess, since she's the princess, she must be having her maid, her servants near her, and so when she was carrying the dandelion, little flower of the dandelion, she was covering the dandelions with her hands to protect it from the wind, and she told other people that, look how beautiful this flower is, and I will paint it in a picture with the apple blossom. She told her friends and other people who are all around her, she told them that, look at this yellow dandelion, it is such a beautiful flower, and when I'll paint a picture with apple blossom, I will also paint this little yellow flower, little yellow dandelion. After listening to this, the sunbeam kissed the apple blossom. The sunbeam again kissed the apple blossom. He bent down to kiss the dandelion too. Now the sunbeam also kissed the little dandelion. The apple blossom blushed with shame as she realized her mistake. Now the apple blossom's face became red when read with shame when she realized her mistake. What did she realize? She now realized that the beauty is not the only thing. We should have some good qualities and good virtues in us, as well as good virtues in us, and beauty is not the only important thing in the world, and we should not be proud of our beauty, and we should consider each and every creature on this earth as beautiful. This was the story adopted from Hans Christian Andersen. I hope you have understood and enjoyed the story of two little flowers, and how the apple blossom learned that the beauty is not the only important thing. I hope you have enjoyed the chapter. Do go through the PDFs that are sent to you regularly. Read the chapter, read the story word by word. Listen to the videos again so that you can easily understand and the chapter. In the next coming video, we will do the question answers related to the same chapter. Till then, take care. Bye bye.